In the new book, Unlocking the Kingdom, you bring back the hero of the first book, Grayson Hawkes. What has happened in his life since we read about him in the first book?
A lot. And the story takes place probably 18 months after the first book ends. In the first book, we meet him, he's a preacher, and he is given this key, and he goes on this incredible journey. He ends up with this amazing opportunity to do some things at Disney that, that most fans would love to do. So in this book, he's not really a preacher anymore. And this is a story about how a guy who's pretty well grounded has had to change. And as he's changed and he's become popular and he's become a leader in a way that he never had to before, with a lot more responsibility and a lot of visibility. It's kind of a story about how he processes that, how he kind of keeps his head above water, and how he kind of holds on to his faith and at the same time makes some wise choices, because he's going to find himself again in an impossible situation by the time it's done. And so a lot of changes have happened. The core of the character is the same, but he also he has to get a lot better at being Grayson Hawkes than he was in the first book.
Okay. Now, readers of the first book will remember that there were some mysterious events in Hawkes' past that helped shape his character. But you just hinted at them in the first book. Do we get to find out what those defining events are in the sequel?
Yes. I mean, that was a question that I heard a lot, and I got a lot of email about that. What is that? What are those mysterious events? And there's one in particular that seems to be a defining moment in his life. And so in the sequel, that actually gets unpacked a little bit. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's a very emotional kind of scene as it gets unpacked, because you really start taking a close look at what makes him tick, and the way that it's unpacked is pretty riveting. And so I think the readers will like it. I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about, get the first book. But I think the readers are going to like it, and I think they're going to be satisfied with it. But the other thing is, it also is something that makes him very, very human. And so, you know, when an event's big enough to define you, it's a big event. And so it's unpacked in a way that I think really does drive the story forward, lets you get to know a little bit more about how Hawk is wired, and it really does, it kind of propels him into a new series of events.
Can you tell us right now what those events might be?
Sure, I'd love to, but I won't, because obviously the book is not out yet, and we want everyone to get the book and read it. But I will do this, because this is an interview that we're doing long before the book hits the market, okay? And so it's kind of a teaser for it. I would suggest that for our readers to read very closely the scene where this kind of gets unpacked, and notice the way it's unpacked, because you can actually walk away from it and make the wrong conclusions, because it is a mystery thriller, and so there's a lot of mystery spun into the way that it's unpacked, and if you're not careful, you'll not get the real meaning of what's going on. And so again, when I say it drives the story forward, it really, really does, and it's big, and it explains a lot about who Grayson Hawkes is.
Very good. Thank you.